Today we're going to be taking a look at Milwaukee's brand new 18 gauge cordless brad nailer. Now I have gotten experience with this by putting in baseboard, window casing, door casing. Today I want to show you what the tool is all about, give you my assessment of it, some pros and cons, and the pricing. This is part of Milwaukee's M18 lineup, so you can use any M18 battery with it. Obviously Milwaukee does tests on this. Now their claim is that it can sink 2-inch nails in oak. We're going to go ahead and test that out for ourselves today. Also, the fact that it has almost zero ramp up time, so it can be ready to fire in 0.08 seconds, which is nice. Also, you don't need a gas cartridge for this, like with other cordless, or I shouldn't say cordless, but other nailers that don't require an air compressor. This is also a brushless motor. It operates on the REDLINK Intelligence system, so if it does sense any overload, it will shut off. And it comes with a REDLINK 2.0 battery pack. This is an 18 gauge brad nailer, so it can accommodate 5/8 inch up to 2 1/8 inch brad nails. The magazine capacity is 110. The magazine loading is it's a side loader, and it can fire 3 nails per second, and the length is 11.4 inches. The total weight is 7 pounds. As usual, you get a really nice bag. So this is one of the things I like most about a tool like this. You get a nice bag that can accommodate not only the nailer, but the charger that comes with it. So you get this charger and, well, not these gloves, but you get the battery. So like I said, this is a 2.0 battery. This is the M18 REDLITHIUM 2.0 battery, and you have your standard light indicator right here. So this charger can accommodate both M18 batteries and M12 batteries. This operates just like a standard brad nailer. There's a magazine to it, so you press down on this button here, slide it open, and then you can place your brad nails inside. And then obviously just slide it closed until you hear it click, and you're good to go. You should obviously do this without the battery being on the tool. That way you don't run the risk of hurting yourself. The battery simply slides into the brad nailer in the back until you hear it click. And then to turn it on, there is a power button right here. So you just press this power button until you see the lights light up. A solid green light in the back indicates single sequential mode. What that means is the brad nailer needs to come in contact with the workpiece, and then you need to press on the trigger to shoot a nail. So as you saw, this one nail right here is not sub-flush. The second nail is. What you can do is adjust the depth of the nail by turning this little knob right here. And if you turn it to the left, like I did right here, it's going to make it sub-flush. If you turn it to the right, it's going to make the nail protrude up through the workpiece, or it's going to decrease the depth of the nail into the workpiece. So we're just going to turn it the whole way to the left for now. If you press this button right here, you'll see the green light start to blink. This indicates bump actuation operation, meaning you can hold the trigger, so you can hold the trigger like this, and all you have to do is bump the workpiece to shoot a nail into it. If you want to go back to single sequential actuation, you just press this button again, it goes back to solid green. To turn it off, you press and hold the button until the light indicator turns off. This workpiece contact right here will not compress into the nailer when you're almost out of nails. So if you only have about 4 or 5 nails left, this contact here, this workpiece contact, will not go. If you have a jammed fastener, the first thing you want to do is remove the battery. Open the magazine. Remove all the nails. And then there's this latch here, and you want to pull up on it and out, and then you can just simply find that jammed nail right here and remove it. And once you remove it, you can put this back together like so. Compress this latch, put all your nails back in, you should be good to go. Now it's time to test this brad nailer. We have a variety of materials here. First of all, I'm going to put every single one of these pieces of material over top 1/2 inch drywall and then over just a standard stud. So this is just a standard 2x4, which is really just 3.5 inches, right? So anyhow, we've got pine casing, which is 1 1/16 inch thick at the thickest part. We have pine base, which is 9/16 inch thick. We have pine chair rail, which is 1 1/16 inch thick at the thickest part here. And then we have 3/4 inch oak hardwood floor. So as you can see, this is what it looks like. And our first test is going to be using 2-inch 18 gauge brad nails. So we're going to load those into the brad nailer right now. And we're going to be using the M18 REDLITHIUM 2.0 battery. My charge is 3 out of 4 lights. And we're just going to begin this test using the 3/4 inch oak. So we're going to start off with the oak. We're going to start off with single sequential actuation. We're going to shoot several nails into this. I accidentally hit another nail right there, so just discount that. Alright, so I shot 50 nails into this. I'm not going to count this one here because I must have hit some type of like old nail in this, which is dangerous. But I'm going to count how many nails are not sub-flush. So I counted 7 out of 50 nails not being sub-flush. Even if they're just slightly above the oak, I'm counting that as not sub-flush. So I want this to be a really tough test. Now it's time to test the pine chair rail. This is 1 1/16 in the thickest part. And then over here, you have your thinnest part. So what we're going to do is shoot 25 nails along here and 25 along here. So on the 1 1/16 edge, we have 3, count them, 3 2-inch brad nails that are not sub-flush. So one here, one here. I know there was another one. So 3 out of 25. Now we'll shoot 25 nails into the thinnest portion. So in the thinnest portion, I actually have one, I'll count 2, because this one I can just barely touch with my fingernails. So I'll say like 1.5 out of 25 of these are sub-flush. We have our pine base. This is 9/16 of an inch. Just a reminder, this is 1/2 inch drywall, stud. So we're going to shoot 25 nails into this. And as you can see, hold on one second, I cannot push this in. So I can't push this in. That means I'm out of nails. That's 25, and I'm going to count that one. There's 1, there's 2. So 2 out of 25 are not sub-flush. I'm actually going to switch from single sequential actuation to bump actuation. So we're going to hold that in. This is blinking. All right, so now we're going to do that. We're going to do bump actuation. We're just going to hold the trigger in and bump it and do 25. Oh, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 out of 25 with the bump actuation are not sub-flush. This is our last test. This is pine casing, 1 1/16 inch in the thickest part right here. And we're using 1/2 inch drywall standard stud. So what we're going to do is we're going to shoot 25 nails in here and 25 nails in here. I'm going to go back to single sequential actuation for this test, and I might do the bump actuation as well. I got one. I got one not sub-flush nail right here. Okay, so that was single sequential actuation. Let's go to bump actuation. So let's go ahead and check and see with the bump actuation. It starts right here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7. So 7 out of 25 for the bump actuation are again not sub-flush. Over here it's better with the single sequential actuation. I'm going to go back to single sequential on the thin part. I got one not sub-flush on single sequential. Okay, now we're going to switch to bump. So I got one not sub-flush right here. All right, so those are my tests for the 18 gauge brad nailer by Milwaukee, the M18 brad nailer by Milwaukee. So what is the final assessment of this? Well, obviously, as you can see through the testing, the single sequential actuation did better than the bump actuation. We had more non-sub-flush nails, brad nails, with the bump actuation than we did with the single sequential actuation. So what are some of the pros, what are the cons, and what is the price point for this? Well, I'd say, you know, the pro obviously is this. You don't need to have a compressor with it, so you don't have to worry about the compressor and the maintenance that goes along with that. The other nice thing is you don't have a hose that you're dragging along with the brad nailer, and that is really a great benefit if you need to move quickly through a project. So if you're putting up casing quickly or a base molding quickly, you can move through that with this tool. What are the cons? Well, the con is I'm not sure about the bump actuation. I really feel like it didn't do all that well, as you saw with the test. The single sequential, so for fine woodworking, I think it would definitely do well. I tried to max out the length of the brad nail and do a real world situation where you're nailing through the wood, through drywall, and into a stud. So I thought that these were good tests, and I did use this brad nailer over at one of my rental properties, although I wasn't using pine or oak. I was using PVC casing because the casing actually was partially in the shower, and the window casing was also PVC because I had to match the bathroom casing. So it actually worked very well over there in single sequential mode. So I didn't use the bump actuation, and I had a good experience. I did have a few non-sub-flush issues, not that many, and I just used my nail set to make those go sub-flush. So what is the price point for this? It's $379. So it's $379 for this entire kit. You get the charger, you get the battery, you get the tool for $379. Now I was just at Home Depot and I saw that you could get an air compressor kit, so 3 guns and the air compressor for $199, which is substantially less than this. But again, you're going to have to weigh the pros and the cons. If you want to move quickly, you don't want to have to switch between guns, you just want to be able to use this gun and go about your business without firing up an air compressor, then maybe you want this as an option. And make sure that you check the pricing online. Maybe if you go to Acme Tools or an outlet store online, maybe they're going to have this way cheaper than the $379 price point that I found over on Home Depot. So that is my assessment of the 18 gauge brad nailer by Milwaukee. Let me know what you think about it down in the comments, good or bad. I want to thank everybody for commenting last week. I really appreciate that. And I hope you have a great day. Thanks for watching the video. Make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you next week. Take care.